Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Today we're talking about Lamar Jackson and his fantasy football impact in this video. We can also talk a little bit about Dobbins, Ingram, and a little bit of that Baltimore Ravens offense for fantasy football 2020. But the main thing is here, at the end of the video, I'm going to leave a verdict, so stay till the end, on if I should draft Lamar this year or not. And if you should, because it's very important, what do you do with Lamar Jackson this year? Do you draft him? Everything you need to know statistically about him and his projection for fantasy football 2020. A very important episode because this guy is going pretty early in drafts. We need to discuss it. Before I get into that, guys, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up. That thumbs up means a lot to me, really helps the channel, and leave a comment below and questions, anything fantasy football related. Now is your chance. Leave it below. I'll get to as many questions as I possibly can. And check this out. I've got a giveaway doing the draw tonight. So guys, you got to jump on this opportunity. How to enter, guys, what it is, first of all, whether you're an Eagles fan or not, I don't care. This card is worth a pretty penny, that's for sure. It's a beautiful mint condition Carson Wentz card. Now, I don't know if you can see it here on the camera. I'm going to zoom in here. If you guys are listening in the car, this card is actually a 2 of 2. There's only 2 of these cards on the planet, okay? It's a 2 of 2. Very rare mint condition Carson Wentz card. To enter it, by the way, here's the cool thing. To enter, all you gotta do is follow the Twitch account, which I've pinned here below on YouTube and also in the body of the message. And if you're in the car, follow FTFN. That's Fan to Fan Network on Twitch. If you go in there and look at it. Also, there's a link in my bio on my Instagram, my story mode. It's everywhere, this Twitch link, okay? And then if you simply follow Twitch and DM me at Fantasy Football Counselor on Insta or leave a comment down here, entered, I will enter you for all sports card draws moving forward this entire season. So you're not only entering for this Carson Wentz card, you're potentially entering for a Josh Jacobs rookie or a Kyler Murray card or whatever it is, okay? I've got signed cards. I got sports memorabilia. Huge draw giveaway, okay, guys? All you got to do is follow the Twitch account, guys, or FTFN on Twitch. And again, I've linked it below. And let me show you guys what's happening before we get into this. It's a 15-second video here, guys. If you're listening in the car, just listen to the music. It's not that big of a deal. If you're watching on YouTube, watch this sneak preview as to what is coming to Fan Network. Here's the teaser. Let's roll it. All right, guys, so that's a teaser. Listen, this is going to be a massive network with all the top influencers for every pro football NFL team. Guys, I'm beyond excited. Follow on Twitch. It's coming July. Huge, huge, huge. Beyond excited, guys, okay? So make sure you guys following Fan to Fan. We are changing the game, okay? All right, so let's get into this. Lamar Jackson and his fantasy football impact. Listen, how can you deny that this guy is a GOAT? Let's talk about it. He's a great player, phenomenal player. Now let's talk fantasy. He's a dream. When I talk about like a dream in fantasy football, when I'm looking at a guy that's like the pinnacle of what I want out of a fantasy football player, it's Lamar Jackson. Now that I'm done kissing his butt here and tooting his horn and being all good about him, let's get to the facts. He had over 415 points, 415.68 fantasy points last season. Oh my God, that's outstanding. 3,127 yards. Not a lot of yards, but check this out. Number 1 in rushing attempts amongst quarterbacks. 176 rushing attempts. Are you crazy? 170? You're putting your quarterback out that many times? He rushed, you're going to laugh at this. This is going to be funny. He rushed more than Ronald Jones. He rushed more than Alvin Kamara, Kenyon Drake, Frank Gore, Melvin Gordon, Peyton Barber, Devin Singletary, Latavius Murray, Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, Gus Edwards, Austin Eckler, Royce Freeman, Matt Breida, Jordan Howard, and James Conner. He rushed more than, he had more rushing attempts than all those guys I just listed. What does that tell you? That tells you, wow, that's pretty phenomenal for fantasy, right? Let's keep diving in. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, are you kidding? 1,206 rushing yards. He is a quarterback. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback. You ready for this? He had more rushing yards than every running back. Let me repeat this. Lamar Jackson had more rushing yards than every running back except these guys. Chris Carson, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Derrick Henry. He had more rushing yards than Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Dalvin Cook, Marlon Mack, Aaron Jones, every other running back except for those guys that I mentioned. What does that tell you? That tells you that's great for fantasy. Wow, this is phenomenal. Listen, this guy's breaking records almost for running backs. Not really, but he's doing really good as a running back. Now, if you look at his passing touchdowns, 36 passing touchdowns, that's pretty good. Not bad. 6 interceptions. That's really good. Didn't throw a lot of interceptions. I like that, okay? And when you look at it here, guys, 401 attempts, I need to see more. So if you are looking at drafting Hollywood, with some of his wide receivers, any type of passing targets, I'd like to see more of, Marquis Brown. I need to see more passing attempts, okay? He's not good on the passing attempts. He ranked 26th amongst quarterbacks in passing attempts. Guys, that's a big issue for me, okay? That's a huge issue when you're looking at a quarterback. You want a quarterback that throws a lot. Okay, so that's kind of a first knock to him. So again, looking really good, guys, in the rushing, but not so good in the passing. Now, when you look at Marquis Brown, played 14 games, only 71 targets, 46 receptions, 7 touchdowns, 584 yards. Now, he's a great sleeper in fantasy, but again, comes the question, is he going to get the volume? Is he going to get the opportunity to put up a lot of points if you're looking at wide receivers? Same with Mark Andrews, 96 targets. Mark Andrews being a primary target at the tight end. Now, Mark Andrews is going to be great value for you guys if you get a tight end, but he is actually pretty expensive in drafts. In regards, what do I mean by value? Not in the value in the draft, but he's going to be a good producer on your team as a tight end because I think Lamar is going to throw it to somebody, and Mark Andrews seems to be a big beneficiary of that and a primary target for Lamar. Now, let's get into the concerns about him. And again, at the end, I'm going to give you guys the verdict. Before I get into that, guys, make sure you guys get that 16-round draft solution. There is a link here below, or head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. This is going to help you guys crush your leagues. You can see how much I'm deep diving into one player. Now, I'm going to hand pick and select every single player that I recommend you should draft in each round and omit the guys that you got to be careful of so you guys maximize your roster, okay? So let's dive into, whether you should draft him or not, the outlook of him, the projection, listen, and the risks, okay? Because this is huge. Let's dive into it. Listen, Lamar Jackson, at the end of the day, is putting himself at massive risk. 176 rushing attempts, 1,200 yards. I don't care how elusive you are. I don't care how durable you are. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. You are putting yourself at significant risk. You are the center focal point of that offense. You're amazing talent. Why would you put yourself at risk? And again, that's a big concern to me if I'm looking at Lamar Jackson, especially investing a second round pick into a guy that's putting himself at risk that many times. Now, obviously the Ravens understand, they know that's why they drafted Dobbins. Maybe they run the ball more. And if you are looking at Dobbins, you got to be careful because Ingram is in there and you got a lot of rushing attempts. You got 176 there. You got like 200 rushing attempts from Ingram. How much volume is Dobbins going to get? That's why I'm staying away from Dobbins this year at running back. But Lamar Jackson, I think he's going to come down in those rushing attempts and those yards, which means his numbers are going to come down, which means he's got to throw more, right? If he's going to throw more, maybe more passing touchdowns. So maybe the ceiling is still there. But the big question comes in is, are you going to draft him in the second round? And the answer, very simple to me, is no. So Lamar Jackson will not be on any of my teams this year because I will not be investing a second round pick. I'm too busy getting a guy like Gurley or Leonard Fournette or Josh Jacobs or somebody I can get that's going to give me full workhorse running back potential and upside. Now, you can get a ton of quarterbacks. Just to give you an example, you can literally wait till the 14th round. Some of these guys are going undrafted. You can get yourself Phillip Rivers and Big Ben. You can get yourself Drew Lock, who's got a high ceiling. Now, I don't recommend these guys as your quarterback one, which I talk about in 16 rounds. Get it, link below. But what you guys got to do is you got to make sure you anchor your team with an ace quarterback. And there's a ton of quarterbacks you can get in the 7th round. Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, to name a few. So you can wait on quarterback and still manage to get a top 5, top 10 quarterback without investing a second round pick on a guy that will decline. Yes, you heard it here. Lamar Jackson will obviously decline. Coming off such a pinnacle year, that is outstanding. 415 points. That's very hard for a quarterback to achieve, considering he beat Dak Prescott by a landslide here. 337 points for Dak Prescott, coming in second amongst quarterback fantasy points. And again, that's one of the reasons why people are looking at him saying, oh, well, he had such a pinnacle year, he's going to surpass everybody else significantly in fantasy points. Very well possible, very well. It could happen again, but I actually like Pat Mahomes a little bit better than Lamar Jackson because, again, Pat missed a couple games last year, and he throws a hell of a lot, and he's solid. Pat Mahomes being the number one guy with 417 points the year before, I'm looking for him to have another solid year this year in 2020. And his average ADP is in and around second or third round as well. But again, if you look at a guy like Matt Ryan back in 2018, he had 354 points. I like that. And look for a big bounce back year out of a guy, let's say, like Matt Ryan. Russell Wilson always finishes in and around the top 10 as well. Another guy you consider. Russell Wilson actually in 2017 was a number one fantasy quarterback with 347 points. In 2018, Russell Wilson had a little bit of a down year, finished 9th amongst quarterbacks. And in 2019, Russell Wilson yet again has a good year, finishing 3rd amongst quarterbacks with 328 points. And I can get him in the 7th round. So, guys, you got to understand, Lamar Jackson could have a phenomenal year yet again, but you got to understand he has such a pinnacle year. A decline is imminent, and they brought in Dobbins. They got to run the ball with their running backs, not so much with their quarterback. And I understand that's part of his game, but that's another thing you're going to be dealing with is possible injury, right? Like if he's running out that many times, I'm concerned that my starting quarterback, a guy that I invested a 2nd round pick, is going to get hurt. So that reason alone, the fact that he's running that much is a big concern to me, and I'm going to stay away. And that's the verdict on him. Just stay away. And I said the same thing last year with Pat Mahomes. Now, Pat Mahomes in his year when he started, right? Back, I think 2018, I think it was his 2018 year when he really got his go, the year he really broke out. I got him in like the 10th round. And that's the value. You can get yourself a Drew Lock who's got top 5, top 10 potential, a guy like that, or even Minshew has a bit of a high ceiling, or a guy like Daniel Jones, or any one of these guys. I love Tannehill. Actually, Tannehill, if he had played the first 6 games with the Titans, could have finished top 3rd if you project his numbers out, because he was absolutely solid and dominant the entire season in fantasy, right? So you can get a ton of value at quarterback later, guys. I'm telling you, you get yourself a Russell, back him up with Tannehill. You get yourself an Allen, and you back him up with a Drew Lock, instead of investing a 2nd round pick in Lamar. Guys, that is the verdict here. That is the outlook. That is the projection. He's going to be a solid year, but again, injury, a big risk for Lamar Jackson, putting himself at risk. Of course, a possible decline. And again, too early of a draft pick. Do not invest in Lamar Jackson. Trust me, the talent, the upside is there. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I'm going to enjoy watching Baltimore Ravens games, enjoying watching him play. I love his competitive nature. I love him as a person, but as a fantasy player in the 2nd round, I'm out for that. Very simple to me. That's it. All right, guys, make sure you guys follow Twitch, FTFN, guys. Also follow my story mode on Insta at Fantasy Football Counselor for more information. Carson Wentz card draw tonight. Going to be doing more card giveaways to enter for all those card draws moving forward. DM me that you are following on Twitch, FTFN, guys. That's where all the action is going to be. Follow there, guys, and I will see you guys next video. Smash thumbs up and subscribe to this #1 fantasy football podcast. Thank you for being here. And that is Lamar Jackson Fantasy Football Outlook and Impact for 2020. Be careful, be cautious, and stay away from them. We'll talk soon.